Thanks to the support as a channel member, Tristan McDonald. Oh, this is a very strange intro to be making because in this video, I've got my first ever North London derby. If we win that, big thumbs up. If we lose it, I will get sacked. But also, we're in the lead after the first leg of the Champions League semi-final. And if we win the other match, we'll be in the Champions League final. But I might be sacked before then. I mean, I don't know. Hello and welcome to Club 3, Part 7 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have that big North London derby, the must-win North London derby against Arsenal. And then as long as we beat Arsenal, we'll be allowed to stick around to play the second leg of the Champions League final against Dortmund, who we are ahead against after the first leg. The reason the game against Arsenal is so important is because we lost against Crystal Palace in the Premier League. Ismail Sen scoring goals. I mean, look at him. He's a very good player. He actually came off the bench with 20 minutes to go in that game and almost turned it around. I feel like maybe if I'd have started him, I wouldn't be in this pickle. But we're back down to 12th place, back below Preston. The board are back down to an E rating and very disappointed in me for my league performance. Even though I will still point out we're higher in the league than we were when I arrived. And they're very disappointed with my leadership of the team. That is despite the fact we're one game away from a Champions League final. This is a Tottenham who've never won the Champions League. I've only previously been in one final in the history of the football club. I might be about to do something that only one person in all of history has ever done before. I might be sacked before it happens. I mean, in this situation, lose against Arsenal and there's no way we're getting into Europe anyway. So why not just let me see out the season, win the Champions League and sack me in the summer? At least let me see that through, because if the Premier League isn't going to plan, which I'll admit it kind of isn't, but if the Premier League isn't going to plan, the Champions League certainly is. Let me win the thing. My word. I'm baffled. We need to beat Arsenal. This is the team that we're putting out there. I've just said we should be playing Sen. We've got to play Sen, haven't we? As much as it feels like we should play Kane, I went back to Kane for Palace and we lost. Every game Sen has started, we've won. We've got to go with him. Harry Kane, I can no longer rely on, I think. So this is the team for the Arsenal game. Bazunu in goal. A back four of Brinley, Valenti, Posselt and Porro. Ravella and Barella in midfield. Mudryk, Kulusevski and Bargi behind Ismail Sen up front. Can I just point out, this guy has 24 assists for the season. 11 of them in the Champions League. He's got 14 goal contributions in 9 Champions League starts. He is basically the reason we are doing as well as we are in the Champions League. But he needs to turn up in the league today, as does the rest of the team. It's just absolutely must win. And it's must win against an Arsenal team that are much better than we are. They need a win to get into the Champions League. Oh, this could be it. This could be I cannot imagine. I'm almost tempted to file it as a bug report if this happens, because I cannot imagine a team in real life sacking their manager just before the second leg of a Champions League semi-final when they're in the lead from the first leg. Now, I know Spurs do have a little bit of history of this. I remember they sacked Jose Mourinho just before a Moose Cup final. But that's the Moose Cup. No one cares about that. It's not the same. We're one game away from the Champions League final and we're winning. You can't be sacking me here, and hopefully they're not going to have to, because 35 seconds in, Kulusevski is in and has put us 1-0 up. Maybe the dream stays alive, at least for the time being. We're 1-0 up. And now we just need to cling on to this lead for the next 90 plus minutes. It's quite early to have gone ahead in this match, isn't it? But it's pretty easy. That was pretty straightforward. Arsenal have just let us glide through them. More of that, please. Oh, if we can grab another one here, I'm going to start to calm down a little bit. And Valenti, his 10th goal of the season from centre-back. That's across both Preston and here. He is such a huge threat from these set pieces, and that is a very good header. And that is 2-0, less than 10 minutes on the clock. The one nervy thing is it's all happening so early in the match that there's so much time for Arsenal to claw themselves back into it. It's not like grabbing 2 in the last 10 minutes. scoring in the first 10 minutes is terrifying because they've now got all this time to just pile on pressure. And I'm already feeling quite a lot of pressure. I don't want to get sacked whilst still in the Champions League. I've made my peace with the fact I might get sacked. This job, despite I think I'm doing quite well in it, the board have decided that the performance in the league is not good enough. I think it is. I think it's fine based on where we were when I arrived. The board have other ideas, whatever. Sack me if you will, but not while we're still in the Champions League. That's crazy talk. I mean, it is Arsenal now on the attack just before half-time. I've noticed Kulusevski has picked up an injury. I'm going to leave him on until half-time because he's such a key player. I think he is going to be taken off at half-time because it looks like he is he's carrying a problematic injury. In fact, he's just popped up there. It's a bruised shin. I mean, for goodness sake, I bruised my shin most mornings getting out of bed. You can play on in the North London derby when my job's at stake. For goodness sake, you're earning like 200 grand a week. Just, so what? It's a bruised shin. You're a footballer. If your shin's not bruised all the time, you're not trying hard enough. That being said, Harry Kane's going to come on and play in his spot, and it'll be fine. I was this close to playing Kane. Past Kev had him in the team, so getting Kane on at half-time seems like the right guy to bring on. He's probably going to have the right kind of attitude. He'll have the incentive to want to win this game. And this might be how we line up Kane and Sen together next year. Listen to him talking as if he's going to be here next year. But if Kane's triggered his 1 year, or we've triggered Kane's 1 year contract extension by playing X number of games. I mean, he's played almost every game. So Kane is here next year. Sen is obviously going to have to be our starting striker because he's so important. So Kane's going to have to play a little bit deeper, whether it's attacking midfield or central midfield. He's going to have to play a little bit deeper or sit on the bench. And I guess we'll have a look to see how he gets on playing a little bit deeper. So we've used him here quite a lot already. He is pretty useful in that spot. But it is Arsenal, relentless pressure now in this second half. Every highlight so far in this second half has been an Arsenal one, but we are defending valiantly, and Barella gets it to Mudryk, who releases Harry Kane, nods it down to Brindley. Brindley charging forward on the left-hand side. If we can grab a third goal here, my job may well be safe for now. Brindley's been fouled. I don't think he'd made it into the penalty area. Has he been fouled? It looks like he's going to book Brindley. No, it's a penalty check. There's no way that was in the penalty area. I kind of wish you'd have just let the move carry on there. Tomiyasu's been given a yellow card. I guess we've got a free kick in a very dangerous spot, but Brindley was past him. Just let him keep going. Mudryk plays the free kick in, looking for Posselt, but can't find him. It's going to come to Ravella. Martinelli got there before him, but Ravella then snapped him in two, and Posselt plays it across to Harry Kane, who has the shot from the edge of the area, but it's a pretty tame one. In fact, it's taken a big deflection that I don't think was very well represented in the match engine, but we have another corner. It's Mudryk from the right-hand side, plays it to the near post, looking for 6'4" Sen, but he can't get proper contact on it. And now Arsenal, with 25, 30 minutes left in the match, are looking for a counter-attack, but the highlight ends, and it's now back with Bazunu, who lumps it forward to Mudryk, who's causing problems for Tomiyasu. Of course, he's now on a yellow card. What a pass from Harry Kane! And, I was up and celebrating. Sen hits the post. That was a lovely counter-attacking move. We are looking good at the moment. Just don't pause it up for me, lads. Goodness me. Right, we've got to make some changes to this defence. Everybody is getting very tired. We'll leave Valente on for now because I don't want to go to Calvin Phillips or Andreas Christensen at centre-back just yet. Not this early in the game. Let's grab a third first. Bargy with the effort that goes over from the long-range free kick. And 15 minutes left. We're still 2-0 up. We have been clinging on to this lead throughout almost the entire match so far, and Kane wins it back and plays Mudryk in again, who's once again got in behind the Arsenal right back and can't beat Ramsdale. And it's going to be cleared down this right-hand side. So I want to close him down, or are we just going to let him have the ball? Apparently we're just going to let Arsenal pick their passes and come through us here, which is unacceptable. Gabriel Jesus, one-on-one with Bazunu, who makes a fantastic save. For an emergency goalkeeper signing, he has been decent. And now Mudryk, once again, down this left-hand side where he's been a danger all afternoon, and his effort goes over. Probably could have ran that a little bit further, and we are running on fumes in almost all positions now. Barella needs to come off. We've got Milinkovic-Savic can come on in central midfield, and I think we probably need to take off We probably need to take up. I mean, both Valente and Brindley are shattered. We've only got Phillips on the bench as another defender. I mean, Phillips is going to have to come on. With all his experience, 34, 35-year-old Calvin Phillips, I've only ever really used him as a central defender, and we just need to cling on for 5 minutes. Brindley trying to find Kane, but doesn't get anywhere near him. And now the ball played full, but Bullet heads clear. Kane doing some good work defensively in midfield again. And now Harry Kane is charging forward with the ball, full of energy, having come on at half-time. Kane cuts it back to Bargy. Is that a penalty? It might be a penalty. The ref is doing his second penalty review of the match for us. This will be it. It's 85 minutes. If we get a penalty here and score it, we have the penalty. This is going to save my job to the point where I'm allowed to play the second leg against Dortmund. It's Harry Kane against Aaron Ramsdale, and he scores. It's 3-0 to Spurs. This should keep me in the job for the rest of the season. This has been a comprehensive win against... We've basically ruined Arsenal's chances of getting in the Champions League here. It doesn't matter if we don't get into Europe. We've ruined their fun. And that's crucial. I mean, we cannot qualify for Europe, so I don't know if that's going to make the board all grumpy. I mean, what they do need to bear in mind is if we win the Champions League, we'll get back into the Champions League that way. So, you know, maybe let me do that, Daniel. Bullet now on the right-hand side again, gives it to Bargy, who is just... Our wingers have been brilliant today. Rooney, Bargy, just trying to take it into the corner flag. Martinelli takes it off him, and now it's back with Bullet again. And now Trilly. Just keep the ball, lads. We've got like 90 seconds of match left. We're 3-0 up. Are we going for another one? Rooney squares it across to Ismail Sen, and he really should have scored there to put a cherry on top of the cake. But he doesn't. Arsenal have got less than a minute to score 3 goals, 4 goals. I don't know what would lead to me being sacked. Would a draw be okay? I think we've probably won this one, though. Brindley, back to Phillips. And now Milinkovic-Savic and Phillips again, and Brindley. We're just keeping the ball. This is how we were playing earlier in the season when we looked quite good. I don't know what's gone wrong. I actually think the deep Champions League run has been a distraction. And if we'd have got knocked out in the Champions League in the last 16, I think we'd probably be 7th in the league now. But staying in the Champions League all the way through has distracted us from what's been going on in the league with an ageing squad. It stretched us too thin. I'm a victim of my own success. This is how I'm going to be presenting this to Daniel Levy. It is going to be interesting, though, because even though we've won 3-0 there, I don't think it was mathematically impossible for us to get Europe before the match, but it is now, even though we've won, because there's not enough games left. So, could I get fired anyway, even though we won? That would be the harshest firing in history if I'm about to get sacked. Let's have a look to see what Daniel thinks about that. It looks like I'm still the Spurs manager, which is nice. Arsenal are an interim manager as well. I mean, shall I jump ship? Jack Wilshere is interim manager of Arsenal. What's gone on there? So Roberto Mancini was sacked. Oh, are you kidding me? So he was sacked like 4 days after I came to Spurs. I could have been Arsenal manager all this time. Is that what you're telling me? When did I become Spurs manager? The 2nd of December, I became Spurs manager. 6 days later, the Arsenal job became available. Very cross. But I am still employed currently. Well, no changes for the second leg against Dortmund then, because we just beat Arsenal 3-0. Why would we make changes for the game against Dortmund? We're 2-1 up from the first leg. Let's just get to the Champions League final. I mean, it will be a ridiculous scenario if I win the Champions League and get sacked regardless. Almost as ridiculous as the scenario I think is more likely to happen, where we qualify for the Champions League final and get sacked before having the opportunity to play in it, which would be even worse. Although looking at the Club Vision page, it does seem like the fact that it was Arsenal that we've just humbled, the word humbled was on the Club Vision page. We've actually gone up to a C on the managerial board thing at the moment. So fingers crossed that gives us until the end of the season and we get to at least play out our Champions League campaign. Of course, that could all come to an end right now. depending on how this match goes. So let's not count our chickens before they hatch. This is our away leg. We did struggle to a 2-1 win in the first leg. Dortmund are a good team, and they could cause us some serious problems here, as they're demonstrating right now. Adeyemi was a particular threat in that first leg, and they're inside the first 10 minutes and have drawn the tie level, gone ahead on the night, and this is feeling problematic. I don't think a result here is going to lead to me being sacked. But what it does do is close the door for any kind of European qualification for next season, which, even if I stick in the job, then creates problems in terms of things like finishing off the great rebuild, doing more transfers, because we won't have European money to be able to make those transfers with. It's a struggle. Mudryk from range, but his free kick is, I mean, it's rubbish. I don't know why he's shooting from there. There's so many better things he could have done than having a wild shot from 45 yards. But let's not worry about that now. He's been brilliant in the Champions League so far this season. Hopefully, he can have one more night of being brilliant. Two more nights of being brilliant would be even better. Porro playing it across to Bazunu, my word. I mean, when Preston used to do this, it would stress me out, but the games were never this high stakes. But it is seemingly working. We are carving through into the Dortmund half. Barella's had the ball taken off him on the edge of the area, but Porro now on the right-hand side. Almost every player in our team has touched the ball as part of this move, and Ismail Sen is there. And that's a hugely important goal for the future of this save. It's 1-1 on the night, 3-2 to us on aggregate. We're still early in the first half, but that was a wonderful goal. And there's Ismail Sen again. He is such a huge player for us, not just because he's 6'4". He's like 22, 23 years old and is a goal machine. I am starting to believe we genuinely might win the champion. I mean, we're not going to win the Champions League. That's madness. Even if we make it through to the final, which is a long shot because Dortmund very nearly scored again there. The other semi-final is Manchester City and Real Madrid. So they'll be looking at this thinking, well, yeah, this is the real final. But I've never won a Champions League this quickly before in non-league session. For those of you questioning, if we do win the Champions League this year, obviously the save's not going to end. No one would be able to argue that this would be a legendary managerial career. This would very much be a Roberto Di Matteo Champions. He won the Champions League with Chelsea, didn't he? I feel like he did. And then just never worked as a manager again. So I guess he did end his save, but I'm not going to end mine because we're struggling to even get into the top half of the Premier League. And I mean, these are some big ifs. We're not even into the final yet and talking about winning it and what we're going to do. I just want to manage expectations. It's been 4 years, 5 years since non-league legend has automatically ended with a Champions League win. That's not how the save automatically ends. We end when the story is done. And I think we'll all agree the story feels like it's only just beginning, even if we do fluke a Champions League final, Champions League win as part of getting sacked at Spurs. Oh, it will be absolutely mad. Right, we are still ahead. It's the second half. Mudryk now on the right-hand side, floating it over, looking for Valente, but can't find him. And now Barella's got the ball, playing it into, or trying to play it into the path of Bargi, but couldn't get there. And now our wingers are going to swap back over, I think, because they're currently both on the wrong sides of the football pitch. Mudryk taking the corner again, and this time it's Posselt and he's hit the post. I tell you what, if we'd have scored again there, we would be believing in a Champions League final. Bargi trying to play it through to Sen, but can't. And now Dortmund are going to try a counter-attack of their own. They've got an enormous amount of space on our left-hand side here. Brindley was forward for the corner, and they have just carved us open. But Bazunu again, he has been fantastic in today's episode. What a signing he is turning out to be. Certainly not the goalkeeper we planned on bringing in, but I don't think we need to be looking to replace him anytime soon. He has been brilliant for us. And unless he concedes it. He didn't concede there. It's fine. We don't need to worry about it. 35 minutes or so left? We are still clinging on to our 1-goal lead across these two legs. Dortmund are going to start throwing more and more at us attacking-wise, but Mudryk has got a corner here, and it's Valente again! What a hero he is becoming in this save! Every time we need somebody to step up and grab us a goal, it's Valente from a corner. he wasn't even the best we had at doing it at Preston. It was always aim at de Klerk and Valente could have a go if de Klerk missed it. He is very much the main man and the target from set pieces here. And goodness me, has he weighed in with a couple of important ones today. There's 20 minutes left. We're 4-2 up now on aggregate. Dare we believe that there is a Champions League final coming up in tomorrow's episode? Brinley to Kulusevski, and that was very nearly it. Mudryk trying to get it across to Barella, but can't find him at Barella. I mean, I wrote him off as an old man when I arrived. He has proven me wrong over and over again. He is so full of energy and did brilliantly to win the ball back there. Right, we need to make some changes. We haven't got enough. I mean, I guess Trilly can come on and play right back because Porro's shattered. Played 2 games in a couple of days and he's just not up to doing that anymore. And we are going to bring on Harry Kane once again to play in that attacking midfield position. We're going to bring on Kvaratskhelia as well, and that will do for now. We don't want to make too many changes in one go. 3 is fine. Look at the XG, look at the match stats. We're not only going to do it, maybe, but we actually deserve it at the moment. This is brilliant. Valente all the way back to Bazunu. Two of our huge signings from January. And now Valente to Ravella. Back to Valente. Just keep holding the ball. Valente, by the way, has made his Italy debut now as well. So he is very much enjoying the step up to Tottenham and the career advancement that's bringing him. Trilly now playing it forward. I mean, he's basically lumped it forward pretty aimlessly, but Harry Kane, as we saw against Arsenal playing in this role, winning a lot of headers. And now it is Dortmund on our right-hand side, and they've scored, and that's a lovely goal. And now we are going to have a very nervy last 10 or 15 minutes of this game. It's 4-3 on aggregate, 2-2 on the night. Dortmund have just scored, so the momentum is with them. This is a lovely finish. I know the comment section is going to be screaming at me to play a little bit more conservatively, maybe stick a DM in, drop back to something other than positive. Long-time viewers will know there's not a chance I'm doing any of that dirty stuff. We're just going to keep doing what we know we're good at and hope that that's okay. Right, we're going to bring Hernandez on as well and swap those 2 over. Hernandez, by the way, scored a hugely important goal in the first leg. It was a lovely late winner in the first leg from the edge of the area. His only goal for Spurs so far. And then he's not surfaced until 10 minutes before the end of the second leg, even though he was the match winner of the first leg. Bazunu playing the ball forward, looking for Sen. At 6'4", he should be winning a lot more headers. Hernandez to Kvaratskhelia, and he gives the ball away. But Hernandez winning it back in midfield again. I wasn't keen on him when I signed him, but he's proving to be a good signing as well. Sen looks like he's running on fumes, although fitness-wise, he's only at half a heart, so he should really be putting in a little bit more of a shift than he is currently. Ravella to Sen, who's just kind of chasing around fairly aimlessly at the moment. He doesn't really look like he's up for this, which is a worry. Hernandez to Barrett. And now Harry Kane, who definitely does seem up for it. Brinley playing it into Kvaratskhelia. No one knows how to say his name. It's impossible. Brinley with the outside of his foot, and Sen is there with the header. And I mean, he was lumbering around looking like he wasn't at all interested. But then when he got his chance, he just went and did a football. We've got our own version of Erling Haaland. He's doing nothing for ages, but then when the cross comes in, he's in exactly the right place. That's all you need. Brinley, I mean, he's 19. He's got no right to be hitting that with the outside of his boot there, but he does. It's perfectly onto the head of Sen. And with just a couple of minutes to go, we've restored our 2-goal lead. And I think, boys and girls, we have made it to a Champions League final. And we don't know if I'm going to be allowed to manage it because I might get sacked beforehand. Tomorrow's episode is going to be a really weird one because it will either be a job hunt or a Champions League final. I'm going to play the final couple of games of the season off camera. There's no way for us to qualify for Europe. What I might do if I get the threat of the sack again, like I have a couple of times already, we might just do that in the first half of tomorrow's episode. But tomorrow is definitely going to be the Champions League final if I'm still Spurs manager to play in it. But there we have it. We've also qualified for the Club World Cup. How are the board? I mean, surely they must see that I'm worth persevering with for a bit, eh? You know, they're pleased to have reached the final of the Champions League, pleased to have humbled Arsenal. let's forget about this one thing, not qualifying for the Europa League through the Premier League. That's because the club was in a state when I arrived. We're moving in the right direction. Show a little bit of faith, Danny. I probably am going to get sacked tomorrow. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.